Hello and welcome to this week's Leader Reader. I'm Nick Palkowski, and before we jump into our featured book here this week, I just want to give a special little announcement. And this announcement will actually answer some questions that I've been getting via email from some of our viewers. If you are a regular watcher of the Leader Reader video series, you know that I always try and get the video out on Monday. Well, this video is finally getting to you on Thursday. And I've had a few people actually email in wondering where the Leader Reader was for this week. Well, I am sitting right now in my brand new office. You see, this week, right at the end of last week and this week, I moved offices and I moved places I'm living, so I'm now got all my stuff in and it's finally started to get the office situated. Just actually got internet yesterday here at the office, so I'm very happy about that, and now I'm able to rock and roll. It's kind of a real big step for me, because I started this whole speaking gig back when I was living in an apartment with 8 other guys, and I was doing videos and all my work in the desk that was underneath my lofted bed. So this is a huge step up to actually have my own office and my own little place to record some videos and things like podcasts and things like that. And I'm actually, once I get the office put together, I will do a full tour of the whole thing, kind of give you a little show of what it looks like. You can see my desk here in the corner, but basically we've got blank walls and a big mess right now. But it's progress. So now, jumping into this week's Leader Reader featured book. This is going to be kind of a short little one, but what I got for you here is The Fred Factor by Mark Sanborn. And it's The Fred Factor, How Passion in Your Work and Life Can Turn Ordinary into Extraordinary. I first read this book several years ago, I believe 4 years ago now, in fact. But actually just the other day I subscribed to Mark's YouTube channel. Mark Sanborn is a very famous leadership speaker, speaks mainly to corporate audiences, but he also shares a background of being a strong national officer in the National FFA, which is where, if you know, I have a huge background in that student organization. So I've always been a big fan of Mark Sanborn. But I just saw recently on his YouTube channel that he made a video talking about the Fred Factor. And so I think he's getting ready to re-release that book again. So I wanted to be sure to bring that to you because it is a huge book that did have a big impact on my life. The Fred Factor is basically the story of a mailman named Fred. And it talks about how this mailman, Fred, is so passionate in his work and how he just takes delivering mail to a whole new level. He turns an ordinary experience into an extraordinary one for all the people that he is delivering mail to. They all love him, they all look forward to seeing him every single day, and it kind of goes through his story. And really, it's a lot about providing service to the people around you, to the people you serve, providing that little extra oomph, I guess, the little extra quality that goes above and beyond what people would normally expect. And it's all about how to deliver an outstanding experience, really. And there are a few main principles within the Fred Factor, and the biggest ones are everyone makes a difference. No matter where you are in leadership position, if you're the top leader in the president in your organization, or you are a member, or you're not even necessarily part of the organization yet, you have the ability to make a huge difference in how people experience your organization, how people experience you and your service. So it's important to realize that, and it's important to go out and make some changes to live that in your everyday life, to live out the fact that you can make a difference. Number 2, success is built on relationships. It's not just about, the transaction or the result. It's about the relationships you have with other people. Pretty self-explanatory, but Mark gives some excellent tips on strategies on how to create those relationships, create those real, authentic relationships that provide that extra little bit of service, provide that extraordinary delivery. Continually create value for others is the third main principle of becoming Fred. Another pretty self-explanatory principle, but a hugely important one that we oftentimes overmiss. I know a lot of times I can just kind of blow past that. You know, you're so busy trying just to hit the marks, trying to hit goals, trying to produce results, get things out on time and under budget, that you can forget about how to really add that extra little bit of value to people. And Mark lays out a good plan, some good strategies about not only the importance, but also how you can continually add that value to others. And the last main principle about becoming Fred is reinvent yourself regularly. It's about not just settling. It's about not just coasting along in your job, in your position. That is something that I feel people fall into that trap way too often. We, get used to the day-to-day habit. We get used to the way things work, and they kind of just want to put yourself on cruise. Kind of just want to coast through and not necessarily throw out any more effort. But if you focus on continually reinventing yourself, yes, it's going to take a little more effort, but the results are going to be so much better. Because when you're just kind of going along on cruise, it's easy to miss opportunities to really deliver extraordinary service. If you're not constantly looking for ways that you can add value, the ways you can increase value, they're just not going to become apparent to you. You have to actually look for them. You have to actually go out and identify ways that you can add value and identify people you want to add value to. You're not going to always be able to deliver impeccable service, impeccable, extraordinary service all the time to every single person. If you did, it wouldn't necessarily be extraordinary. But you can take your level of service up a notch. By continually reinventing yourself, you continually kind of inch that bar just a little bit higher. You set a new zero level, if you will. If you bump your service up to 1, well, when you're coasting along at a 1 and then you try and reinvent yourself, that now becomes your new 0, and you're gonna, bump yourself up again. Hope that kind of makes sense. This book also gives some very excellent strategies about how to find and create Freds in your organization. How to produce a culture of Fred, if you will, within your student organization. It gives great tips. So definitely check out this book. Like I said, I think he's going to be releasing a brand new one. Not sure about that. But either way, this is an excellent book. A must-read, I feel, if you are a student organizational member. It's going to allow you to take everything to the next level. So I'm going to include the video I found on YouTube below, so be sure to check that out. It kind of explains the story of Fred just a little bit more, and it's a kind of nice, very neat looking video. So check that out. Grab a copy of the book below. But the big question I want you to think about today is, how are you going to make a difference today? How will you make a difference? What difference are you going to make? So until next time, be sure to go out and read.